Le Mans Ultimate version 1.1 has dropped, and with that we have DLC confusion. A new car, a new track, and a whole bunch of polish and improvements. Following on from testing this update online, I'm going to tell you what's good about LMU, what's bad about LMU, what's changed, what hasn't changed, and what motorsport games still really need to sort out. Or maybe someone else can sort it out. It's the force feedback, guys. It's the force feedback. Come on, please someone do a Marvin Zap for LMU, please. Dear God, the force feedback in this game is so dull. It works, but it's dull. To be able to unsubscribe in a fit of rage and anger, you first need to subscribe. So do that. And clicking the like button may or may not be an indication of a lack of free will. Thanks to everybody that supports us, channel members, donors. It's insane. You guys need help. Now, before I go into the positives of the content and what I think is really good quality stuff from motorsport games, we have to say that the DLC and way that you can buy stuff in this game is massively confusing and, as like many simulators, totally idiotic. If you want to drive Silverstone and the new LMP3 car, then you can get the $9.99 DLC, or you can spend £19.79 on the ELMS Season Pass, or you can spend £64 on the Race Control Pro account, which is a yearly subscription. With all those ways, you still also need to have bought the base game. So it's not confusing in the slightest and not off-putting to new people coming to the simulator. Now, the good news is, if you've got the base game and you don't want to buy the DLC, you can still benefit from the updates that have come from version 1.1 and the updates that have applied to the LMP2 car and other content in the simulator. So that's really nice, isn't it? But personally, I think simulators need to decide if they're a subscription service or if they could just bundle stuff with a single yearly DLC and that's it. This whole fragmentation of everything is just bloody confusing, and I get a billion comments and messages from people not understanding what they should or should not buy when it comes to the content. With that little whinge and rant out of the way, let's talk about the positives of the content. And I have to say, the Silverstone version that they've got here is absolutely fantastic. I think most sport games do a really good job on their track 3D models, the scan quality, and the actual just the detail resolution, the asset placement, and the sort of realism feel that you have of the environment. Unfortunately, the last time I went to Silverstone in real life around the actual physical track was a few years ago now, and it was before they built those ridiculous apartments that you see on the old start-finish line, which you're not allowed to live in during the Formula 1. If you buy them, they evict you. So it's really nice to actually be able to see them in a video game when I've not seen them in real life. But it's really nice as well with this version of the track. It has all the new start-finish line details, the bridge going across to the wing, which a lot of versions of this track in other simulators don't have. I think the only other version of Silverstone that's this good is maybe in the official Codemasters Formula 1 games. But yeah, absolutely superb version of Silverstone. And if you're paying £10 for the DLC, I think that's £10 well spent. I mean, imagine if you were buying an airport for a flight simulator or a track for another simulator. £10 is a fair price, I think, for such a high quality model. And I know some people don't like Silverstone. It's quite a divisive circuit. I think it's one of those tracks where you have to learn it and then it starts making sense. But I'd also say, particularly, it's a very good track for the types of vehicles that are in Le Mans Ultimate. So the GTE, LMP2, GT3 hypercars. It's a good track for those types of vehicles that are relatively fast with a bit of downforce. The flowing right-handers just make sense with it, and it's a good track actually for testing simulators physics. The corner before Brooklands is a well-known corner for destroying tyre models in racing sims, so I really love it as a track, and it's fantastic to have it in another simulator. As a warning though, it's a terrible track to visit in real life and to watch races in real life at. Don't bother going, you can't see anything, and it's a maze to get into, it's a maze to get out of. It's horrendous, but it's a track to actually drive on and go around in video games or real life. Absolutely fantastic. If you want to go to a real track in real life, just go to Brands Hatch, watch some vintage racing there, and you can thank me afterwards. Now, in terms of the LMP3 car, Motorsport Games, I think, have done a good job with this vehicle. It's predictable, it's, on the grand scheme of sim racing, very easy to drive. It's, guys, it's bloody awful. It's so bad. It's so bad. Not because Motorsport Games have done a bad job. This is one of those cases where I think the car is just absolutely terrible, uninspired, and makes no sense in reality. I mean, why would you bloody drive this instead of like a Radical SR3 or even a bloody anything like a vintage Mini? Anyway, Motorsport Games, I think, have done a good job of this car in that they've captured how dull, uninspired, overpriced and nonsensical it would be to race in real life. It's a feeder car for people with too much money to waste for them to maybe go into LMP2, I guess, or maybe for them to do GT3 or something else. I don't know. You do get the real feeling of a dentist when you drive this, or at least that of a dentist that's accidentally jabbed themselves and have anaesthetised their hands. It's that dull. Even if you look at the dash, you can see there's the dentist air tube for cleaning out the mouth of the patient. It's actually the pitot tube for measuring air pressure, but I like to think of this car as the ultimate dentist tool. It's a tired joke, but it's a true joke. This car is also a true joke. Honestly, why would you do this over LMP2? And ironically, this vehicle, on a video game side of things, ironically, this car's actually harder to drive than the LMP2 car because it tends to be a bit abrupt in losing grip and just spinning around when you actually start to push things and try to be closer to the limit. It's quite a stiff vehicle, and also the catching of oversteer at times can sometimes be a bit tricky. So most sim racers will actually find this a lot harder to drive than the LMP2 GT or other vehicles in the simulator. So it really just makes no sense at all to be driving this. Again, to be clear, I think Motorsport Games have done an alright job of this car. It's dull and boring as it is in real life. They've even captured the ginormous A column, which I think was actually a design feature of the vehicle for dentists that they have in their people carriers, which allows them to run over cyclists in central London but not have to look at the cyclist as they knock them off their bicycles. And in sim racing, you get the same sort of advantage. You can drive into overtaking LMP2 cars or other LMP3 cars, and you don't even have to look at the other driver. Just turn into them, feel a bit of a knock, they've gone spinning off. Absolutely fantastic design feature of this car. When it comes to the engine note and sound of this vehicle, it has the quality and excitement of that of a geriatric elephant taking its final breath. Not something that I would describe as positive, and mostly something I'd describe as rather depressing. But that's what it sounds like, and maybe that's what it also sounds like in real life. The car, not the elephant. I mean, I've never heard a geriatric elephant pass away, but it probably does sound like this vehicle. And like all the content in Le Mans Ultimate, I have to say, you know, the 3D model, the texture work, the graphics, the displays, you can't see the steering wheel because I've removed it. I'll try and put it back on for future video. I'm drive like a Jedi, just using my mind. But all the in-car stuff, it looks great. We will be testing this in VR at a later date. And, you know, those cockpit details really do pay off when you play in VR. And Motorsport Games, again, really good attention to detail. It is a very polished product, even if what they are polishing happens to be some of the most boring and dull vehicles known to man. That's not their fault. It's the official WEC game, right? You know, it's that they've got to put the vehicles and stuff in the game that's a part of the official license, because this is sim racing. Woe betide we actually simulate fun stuff. No, we have to simulate dull stuff. But that's just simulation. What you're going to do about it? But of everything that's there, absolutely fantastic. And the main thing as well, I think, even if you don't buy this DLC, just the overall polish and the polish level of this title, with it being a very focused title with just GTE, LMP3, LMP2, LMP3, and this sort of slight variants of that. Where's he going? With it just being focused on that, it does mean that they can then really polish that stuff in, which is fantastic. And also, a lot of people are basically just playing this game for that online racing format, and I think it does it really well. It's worth saying, a lot of people don't have billions of hours free to spend on driving simulators, and I think the key crux of games like iRacing and Le Mans Ultimate is the guarantee that when you buy them, you can jump in every hour and there will be a ranked race available for you to just have a race and do what you're actually wanting to do. And with it being LMP3, LMP2, GT3, it's very consistent, very understandable content that is quite drivable for a wide range of people. Combine that with the netcode in this title and the car contact design, which is absolutely superb and something that iRacing should be paying attention to. It's actually embarrassing that iRacing by now, even with a demonstration like LMU, that iRacing have not addressed their issues. But with the way that this works online, it's really, really well done. And another thing worth pointing out again as well is the default setups that you have, the Coach Dave setups, for example, for most people are more than competitive until you get to like the top 2 or 3 splits. You can just go into a server, click the setup that's there, or do the fixed setup racing, and you will have a really good race, generally speaking. And that's the main point of these titles. So I have to hand it to Motorsport Games. Really, really good. Now, lastly though, the worst thing about this, in my opinion, as a arse and annoying git of sim racing, I have to say, look guys, the force feedback in this title, it's passable, it's borderline immersive with the bumps and stuff and the flat spot feeling and all that kind of stuff. At high speed, it's got reasonable detail, but all in all, the force feedback in this title is so absolutely terrible and lacking in detail compared to Automobilista 1, Automobilista 2 with like custom setups, Assetto Corsa 1, or Marvin's app for iRacing. The force feedback in this is just so lame. It's just lame, it's depressing, and unfortunately, because the cars in this game are a bit lame as well, GT3, don't get me wrong, I love LMP2 and I love the hypercars, but most of the cars that people are mostly driving, the GT and GT3, are a bit lame and a bit muted because of TC and ABS and everything. In many ways are a bit muted, especially on the simulation side. You really need much better force feedback to really help you enjoy those vehicles and get the most out of them and really understand them when they're actually at their limit. LMU is just, its force feedback is just so lacking in detail and dynamic range. We need either Le Mans Ultimate to really focus on somehow making the force feedback more detailed, or maybe there's a way for someone to do, as I say, like a Marvin's force feedback app for this title. And I think that is kind of one of the big missing links with this game in terms of making it actually really exciting to play. Maybe less experienced sim racers are enjoying it and they feel it's fine, but as a jaded old git that's been playing a lot of sims for the last 20 years, this is really lacking in the force feedback department, and I think that would massively improve the immersion and the actual feel of the vehicles and excitement. So that's my big complaint about this title at the moment. As I say, we haven't tested this in VR. I'm also only playing this on my budget 5090 GPU, which runs everything very well, so it's hard for me to sort of really comment on the performance of this game. Hopefully we can do some testing on a lower end system and then we'll be able to see how much performance has improved or not. But there you go guys. I mean, that is basically a rundown of the simulator. Is it worth getting for you? I would say a lot of people would really enjoy it if they just want jumping online racing with GT3 cars. I kind of see this as a replacement for ACC for many people. I think you can buy the base game for cheap and try that out and see what you think of it, and you can really enjoy a lot of the online racing with just the base game without any of the DLC, and that will give you a way to feel out if you like it or not. And then I would probably say, for a lot of people, if you really started to get invested into it and putting a lot of time into it, you might as well just buy the yearly subscription. Don't get any of the DLC or anything, just buy the race control yearly subscription, and then you can access everything, and that takes away all the complexity and the stupidity of this confusing DLC stuff. But there you go, guys. That is our rundown and thoughts on version 1.1 of Le Mans Ultimate. Thank you very much for watching. If you got to the end of this video, 2 teapots and maybe a chicken. I don't even know if that exists as an emoji, but it should do if it doesn't. Happy tea drinking, take care, and goodbye.